Hello and welcome to EduMedia YouTube channel. In this 2.5-hour video, I present to you numeracy past questions ranging from 2018 all the way to 2021. If you are preparing for the teacher licensure examination, this is a great resource for you to revise and to keep yourself updated on the questions that are going to come in the examination. Without much further ado, let's start with question 1.
Students are most likely to be intrinsically motivated to learn and master mathematics when the answer is B, when they believe that the mathematics they are learning is related to their lives. Alright, this is more or less like an educational question. Alright, where we talk about motivation. Alright, so let's jump to the next question. Question number 2. It says, study the number of boxes in the patterns below. We have pattern 1, a box here, pattern 2, another box here, 3 boxes here. Pattern 3 also have boxes here, pattern 4 boxes here. Now here comes the question. It says, if the pattern is extended, how many boxes will be in pattern 7? And these are the possible answers. Right, so this is what I have done here. Now for me to get this answer, what I did is to represent each of these patterns with a number. Alright, I mean the number of boxes. So pattern 1 have 1 box, so I indicate that with 1. Pattern 2 also have 3 boxes, so I indicate that with 3. Pattern 3 has 5 boxes, so I indicate that with 5. Pattern 4 we have 7 boxes, so I indicate that with 7. That is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. All right, now pattern 5, I don't know the number of boxes, so I indicate that with X. Pattern 6 also, I don't know the number of boxes, I indicate that with Y. And then pattern 7, I don't know the number of boxes, so I indicate that with Z. Alright, now for me to get it, now I've represented all these boxes with numbers here. Now for me to get the next number, I have to check the differences between each of the numbers. So I'm trying to look for the differences between each of them. So what I did is to take the 3 here, subtract 2 1, this 1 from it, and then the difference is 2. 7 also, I subtract 5 from it, and the difference is 2. Alright, so I'm looking at the difference. So this showed me that the difference between each of the numbers, alright, is 2. So this means that at every stage 2 is added to a number to get the next number. Alright, so you add 2 to the next to the current number to get the next number. You add 2 to the current number you get to get to the next number. Alright, so here you take 1, add 2 to it, you get 3. 3, add 2 to it, you get 5. 5, add 2 to the 5, you get 7. Now 7, you add 2 to it, you are getting 9. Alright, so that is what we had here, 9. So when you go the other way, 9, and you subtract 7 from you get the 2. Alright, so 9 also you add 2 to it, you get 11. And the 11 also you add 2 to it, you get 13. So the 9 here is represented by X, and 11 is represented by Y, and then Z, which is the pattern 7, is represented by 13. So the answer here is 13. Alright, so that is it. Now let's move on to the next question. The next question said, a car left in Sawam at 9:45 a.m. It arrived in Kumasi in 3 hours 70 minutes later. Now what time did the car get to Kumasi? The possible answers are provided here. Now this is the way I solved this. Now I decided to take out the times here. So this is what I did. Here I have the car left 9:45 a.m. and it arrived in Kumasi in 3 hours 70 minutes. Alright, so what I did was to take my hours out. So I represent it as in hours here and then minutes here. Alright, so I took out 9 hours 45 minutes. So 9 is my 9 hours here, and then the 3 hours also is under the hours column. So I have 9, the hours here, and then the minute. So I start adding each of them. Alright, so since it arrived in Kumasi in 3 hours 70 minutes, meaning it's added, or it took another time to arrive there, so I need to add up all the times. Okay, so I took the 45 minutes, the 5 here plus the 7, that gives me 12. Alright, so 12 here, so 2 here, remainder 1, and then 4 plus 1, which is 5. So 5 plus this 1, that gives me 60. Alright, now 60 here, remember that you are still under the minute column. So 60 minutes gives us 1 hour. So automatically the 60 here equals to 1 hour. All right, so the 60 minutes here equals to 1 hour. All right, please don't mind my handwriting here. The 60 here is equals to 1 hour, so therefore I'm going to represent here 0. All right, because this cannot be left blank, so that's going to be 0 here. So that 1 hour is here now, and then we now come to the hours column. We add the 9 to the 3, that is going to give us, we add the 9 to the 3, that's going to give us 12. All right, so 12, then we add the 1, this 1 to the 12, and that should give us 13. All right, so we can have 13, we're supposed to have 13 here and 2 like this. All right, that's what you're supposed to have, 13 and 2. And when you're using the 24-hour clock, you can have 13 represent 1. Okay, 1 p.m. and the moment it crosses the 12 noon, that becomes p.m. Okay, so that is 1 p.m. same as 13. All right, 1 p.m. so that is our answer now is 1 p.m. so the car gets to Kumasi in 1 p.m. all right, so our answer there, we check, is 1 p.m. This is the answer. All right, let's move on quickly to the next question. The next question is, what is the next term in the pattern below? All right, so we are given a pattern. So what's the next term in this pattern? So we're given 4 minus 4 equals 0, 4 minus 3 equals 1, 4 minus 2 is 2, 4 minus 1, 3, 4 minus 0, 4. Now when we look at here, a number has been repeated. All right, so it means 4 has been repeated, so we can also repeat 4. So we can also repeat 4 here. All right, so we can repeat our 4. Okay, and then another number, then we look at the second number here, line of numbers here. What happened here? We saw that the number continued to increase. It was 4, and it's now 3, it's now 2, it's now 1, it's now 0. So after 0, meaning we should get a negative 1. So since the number is reducing, so we get a negative 1 here. All right, so I'm going to write it here. We have 4 constants, yeah, and then minus, so negative 1. Mind you, the operation here is also repeated. The negative subtraction operation here is also repeated. That's why I brought it here. All right, and then negative 1 is a separate thing here. All right, and then we have our equal sign here that is also repeated. So then we look at our last line of items here. All right, so here also we saw that the number is rather increasing at this side. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the next item? It should be 5. Okay, so our next term is going to be 4 minus negative 1 equals to 5, and that is true. So we check our possible answers, and this is our answer here. So our answer is this: 4 minus negative 1 equals to 5. All right, so that is it. Now we can see the next question. The next question said, there are P boys and Q girls in a classroom. Each person had 2 textbooks. Which of these expressions represent the total number of textbooks carried to the classroom? All right, so we have we have P boys, and then we have P girls. All right, and each of these girls, each of these students, or each of these people carried 2 textbooks. So the boys carry 2 textbooks, the girls also carry 2 textbooks. All right, so what I did here is this: I took out P boys equals 2 textbooks, Q girls equals 2 textbooks as well. So the total number of textbooks here equals number of textbooks carried by the boys plus number of textbooks carried by the girls. So total number of textbooks is going to be, so the total number of textbooks is going to be 2P plus 2Q. That's 2P representing total number of textbooks carried by the boys. Remember, the boys is what? P, and then the girls is Q. So we have that. So plus the total number of books carried by the girls. So the total number of textbooks is 2. So when we factor out 2, that's the common item here. So when we factor out 2, then we get 2P plus Q. So 2 into bracket P plus Q. So that is our answer here. All right, now please, I know I'm moving very fast. All right, I'm moving very fast. If there's any question that you need further explanation, you can put it in the comment down below, then I'll tend to it as quickly as possible. All right, if you need more explanation, you can draw my attention. I'll attend to them as quickly as possible. Now the next question here is question number 6. All right, we have in a game, Ajua, Ama, and Kofi each had tried 20 times at throwing balls into a basket. I'm taking this again. In a game, Ajua, Ama, and Kofi each had tried 20 times at throwing balls into a basket. The table shows the results of the game. What are the values of A and B in the table? All right, so we have this Ajua here, 10 out of 20. So number of successful shots. So they have 20 times to throw the balls. All right, 20 shots, and then Ajua was able to throw 10. Okay, he got 10 successful. Okay, 10 balls got into the basket, whilst the other 10 didn't get him. And in percentage wise, that is represented as 50%. Okay, and then Ama also, out of 20, Ama got 15 balls successfully into the basket, and then we don't know the percentage that is represented by that 15%, that 15. All right, and then Kofi also, we don't know the number of balls that Kofi had successfully thrown into the basket, but we know that his number of balls that entered the basket is represented by 80%. All right, so we now have to figure out A here and B here. Okay, so the number of shots by Kofi, and then the percentage of successful shots by Ama, we have to find it too. So what I did here is to take this starting from Ajua. So to confirm that what I'm doing is right, I took Ajua's figure, that is 10 out of 20. So 10 divided by total number of times they were throwing the ball, that give me half, 1/2. So 1/2 times 100, that give me the 50% here. So that is the same as what she's having here. So that is 50%. That is correct. Excellent. And then when I get to Ama, I took 15% divided by 20. 15% here divided by this 20 here, that gave me A. That should give me, okay, yeah, 15% divided by 20%, that gave me 3/5. Now 3/5 times 100, that will give me his percentage, that is 75%. So A here because 75%. All right, so okay, yeah, so A here is 75%. All right, now when I get to Kofi, now what I know is that Kofi, using the same methodology, I could say Kofi's number of balls that he got successfully, B over 20, should give me a number times 100%. All right, so yeah, a number times 100%. So B over 20 equals to, it's supposed to give me a number, a fraction times 100% to get the 80%. All right, but then what I did here is to take the 80%. Okay, so since I've already been given the successful number of shots that he got successfully, I took 80% here. So 80%, that's 80/100. Okay, 80/100 is the 4/5 here. So when I reverse that, 80/100 times 80/100, that is 4/5. So 4/5 times 100 is the same 80%. All right, so I know very well that 80% in a fraction wise is 4/5 times 100. Okay, that is the 80% here. So therefore what it means is that when I take B over 20 times 4/5, doing the cross multiplication here like this, so that's what I did here, cross multiplication here, whereby we take B times 5 and equals 20, B times 5 equals 20 times 4. All right, so B times 5 is 5B here, and then 20 times 4, that is 80. All right, so cross multiplying it will give me this. Now dividing through by 5, dividing through by 5, dividing through by 5 is going to give me B equals to 16. So my B here is 16. So it means Kofi had 16 shots successful. All right, 16 shots, that was successful. Okay, so that is Kofi's shot. So the answer here is B is 16 and A is 75, or that is A 75% and B 16. So the answer is here, C 75 and then 16 for this. All right, so that is it. Now the next question here is, how many degrees does a minute hand of a clock, okay, a minute hand of a clock turn through from 6:20 a.m. to 7 a.m. the same day? All right, how many degrees does a minute hand of a clock turn through from 6:20 a.m. to 7 a.m. the same day? Okay, so what I did here is that I equated. I took 60 minutes. I know very well that on a clock, a wall clock, 60 minutes makes up 360 degrees. So when I have my circle here and I have this, the minute hand traveling from here and back, going all the way and back, is 60 minutes, and that is 360 degrees. All right, so I know that very well. So that the 60 minutes equals to 360 degrees. Now 40 minutes, which is the difference between these two times, because 6:20 to 7 a.m., that's the difference is 40 minutes. So I'm going to find the 40 minutes. So 40 minutes is x in degrees, so I don't know it in degrees, so I'm going to find this x. All right, so 40 minutes is x. Okay, so what I am going to do here, so what I did here is to cross multiply. So using the cross multiplication like this. Okay, so 60 minutes times x, 40 minutes times 360 degrees. So the 40 minutes here times 360 gave me 14,400. That's 14,400. All right, so when you do it in your calculator, 40 times the 360 gave us will give you 14,400. So after this, then you divide through by 60 here to get the x alone. So dividing through by 60 here, so x will now be equals to 240 degrees. All right, 240 degrees. So the answer there is, so it means the hand clock will run for, so the number of degrees, yeah, it will take 240 degrees for it to run from 6:20 when it's at 20 here. Remember, our 15 is here, so when it's at 20 here, for it to get back to 7 o'clock, so from here, when it's at 20 here, it will run, so 20 will be 4 here, so it will run back here, and it will spare, it will take about 240 degrees for it to get here. All right, so that is all that that's what it means. So the answer is 240 degrees. All right, so the next question is question number 8. 600 copies of a book have to be packed into boxes. Each box can hold 15 of the books. Which of the following operations could be used to find the number of boxes needed? All right, so we have 600. Okay, let me quickly do that here. 600 books, that's the total number of books that needed to be filled. So I have total so total number of books, that is 600. All right, that have to be packed in a box, into boxes. All right, so each box, a box can take 15 books. Okay, so we want to know the number of boxes that we need for us to pack all this. So if you have 15 going to one box, then it means, obviously it means for us to get the total number of boxes, we need to divide this 15 by this 600 by 15. All right, so we need to divide this 600 by 15 here. So by 15 here. All right, so the answer is divide 600 by 15. All right, so that is the answer, divide 600 by 15, for us to get the total number of boxes that we need. All right, now to the next question. The next question says, which of the following statements, all right, which of the following statement is or are always true about natural numbers? Okay, so we are talking about natural numbers here. Now the first one is I. All prime numbers are odd. Composite numbers have more than 2 divisors, and I. The sum of any two natural numbers is odd. Alright, so let's quickly analyze this. Now all prime numbers are odd. Prime numbers include, so prime numbers P, so even the first prime number that we have makes this false, so this is not true. When we have our prime numbers consist of 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. So this alone, the 2 alone, shows that not all prime numbers are odd. So this is out, meaning this is false. So this is out. So we are looking for a statement that is true. So this is out. Now we're looking at the next one. Is composite numbers have more than 2 divisors. Now the question is, what are composite numbers? All right. So what are composite numbers? Let's just leave that for the meantime. Let's analyze the third point. The third point said the sum of any two natural numbers is odd. So it means when you take 1 plus 2, that is 3. Yes, that is true, odd. When you take 2 plus 3, 2 plus 3, okay, that is 5. Okay, but when you take 2 plus 4, that is 6. Okay, these are natural numbers and they are not giving us odd, so this is also out. This is also false. So the answer here is II. Okay, now before we do this, let me explain what the composite numbers are. They say the composite numbers, let me just clean this to have some space here. Okay, now they say the composite numbers have more than 2 divisors, and that's true. Composite numbers consist of numbers like 4, 6, 8, I think 9. Yeah, so let's just test these numbers. They have more than 2 divisors. Now when we take 4, for example, 4 has 8 factors, include 1, 2, and 4 itself. All right, so it has more than 2 divisors. Okay, when you take 6, for example, 6 has something like its factors to be 1, 2, 3, and 6 itself. It's more than 2. So this is these are composite numbers. And then when we take 8, for example, we'll have 8. We'll have that 1, 2, 4, and 8 itself. All right, so these are composite numbers. Okay, and we can have as many as them. Please don't mind my handwriting here. I wanted it to seem very I wanted it to be closer to you guys. That is why I didn't write these answers beforehand. So I want us to really understand this very well. So these are composite numbers. All right, and one thing you should know, that all whole numbers apart from 1, okay, apart from 1 in the numbering system, all the whole numbers are either prime numbers or composite numbers. All right, so the prime numbers are not composite numbers. There's no prime number that is a composite number, and there's no composite number that is a prime number. Now when you take, for example, the number 3, which is a prime number, okay, now 3 has factors such as 1 and itself 3. So it means its divisors are not more than 2. So this cannot be a composite number. All right, and then when you take 2, for example, 1 and 2. Okay, so when you take 5, for example, 1 and 5, there's no other number that can divide 5. All right, okay, without a remainder. Of course, there's no other number that can divide 5 without a remainder. All right, so this is what we mean by composite numbers. Okay, so composite numbers and then prime numbers, the two of them make up the whole numbering system. So a number can either be a prime number or a composite number apart from 1. All right, so that is it. So the answer is II. So is I only. All right, so that is the answer here, I only. Okay, so that is question number 9. Number 10, a company has 200 employees. 39% of them work in the machine room and 32% are engaged in distribution of goods. How many of the employees are engaged in other duties apart from these two? All right, so they have 200 employees. 39 of those employees, 39% of those employees of these employees are in the machine room, and 32% of these same people employees are in distribution. So we want to know the remainder. All right, the easier way we can equally do this is to, we know this is percentage, okay, and 100% equals to 200 employees. Okay, so when something is 100%, it is full. Okay, so we've already been given 32% and 39%. So to get 100%, all that we need to do is to add up our 39% plus our 32%. Okay, so when we add up our 39% and then our 32%, we have 71%. We need to add up to get 100%. Okay, so when we add up, the difference here is, so 100% minus 71%, and the difference is 29%. So they're asking how many employees are engaged in other duties apart from these two. So 29% here, you strike that on these 200 employees. Okay, so 29% times the 200 will give us the actual number of employees. Okay, so 21% there times the actual number of employees. So that will give us 42. 21%, or 29% rather, 29% times the actual number of employees, that will give us 58. So that will be 58 employees. Okay, so this is our number 58 here. This number here 58. So that's the answer. So another so this is one way of doing it. Convert just working with the percentages. So we have 32 and 39 together, and then you take it from the 100%. Since 100% is something that is full, so you take it from the 100%. Now 100%, we get the 29%. Now 29% times the 200, that will give us the actual figure of employees there. Now another way to do is to do the 32% of 200 to get the actual figure, 39% on the 200 to get the actual figure. Whatever you get, you add it to, subtract it from the 200. All right, so let me quickly do that. Okay, another way to do it is to okay, all right, so how to do it here is to do 32%. No. 32% times 200. So the 200 here, so 32% times 200, and then 39% also times the 200. Okay, so whatever we have here will be added together. So 64 here, and then we have here 78. Okay, so these two figures will be added together, and the answer will be 142. So this 142 will be subtracted from the 200. So we have 200 employees minus 142 employees. Okay, so that will give us 200 employees minus 142. Yeah, that will give us the same answer as this 58. Okay, so when you do it, you take your time and do it, that will give us 58. All right, so the answer is 58. So that's it. And the next question, question 11, if you take away the sum 248.25 and 63.17 from 890.45, what is left? So you add, all that you need to do is to add up these two figures, this plus this, and you subtract the total from this. Okay, so you could do it as no, you can do it like this. We can have our 890 here. Whoa, guys, I'm not really used to writing with this thing here. So 890.445, wow, 45 minus into bracket 248.25, okay, 0.25 plus, all right, 63, wow, 0.17. There's a point here. So you add these two figures and you subtract it from the 890. Okay, and then the answer should be this. All right, so this is the answer, 579.03. okay, so the next question, we have 11 more than 2 times Jonah's age is equal to 59. How old is Jonah? All right, so this is also a word problem. Let's quickly look at it. Now, the way I did this is, I don't know Jonah's age. That is what I'm looking for. How old is Jonah? So I don't know that age. So I represent Jonah's age with X. Okay, now what the statement said is, it said 11 more than 2 times Jonah's age is equal to 59. So he said 11 more than, so 11 more than, so meaning it should be increased. Okay, 11 should be increased. So 11 more than something, that is 2 times Jonah's age, and I know Jonah's age is X. Yes, I represent that with X. So 2 times X, so 11 plus 2 times X should be 59, because it's equal to 59. So doing that, I can get 11 plus 2x equals 59. So 2x, then when we take our 11 across board, we have 59 minus 11, 2x equals to 48. So dividing through by 2, so we have x equals 24. All right, so that is how we're able to get this. Okay, so as I said, first of all, I don't know Jonah's age. I just have to represent it with x, and then I continue with it. All right, so the answer is 24 here, 24 years. So Jonah is 24 years old. Okay, so the next question, question number 13, is data recorded a mean score of 24 on 5 tests. Okay, what should she score on the sieve test to bring her mean score up to 26? Okay, you're looking at what she should score on the sieve test to bring her mean score up to 26. All right, so this also needs some small working. Now, first of all, I know that mean, to get the mean, all you need to do is to have total score divided by total number of scores. Okay, total score divided by total number of scores. So I've already been given the first one. I say the first mean previous, when she did the test. Okay, so she had 24 with the mean score of 24. So we know that the mean is 24. That's the first instance. Okay, and when the mean score is 24, her total number of tests she took were 5. Okay, so I know the total number of tests she took, which is 5, but I don't know the total score. So I have to look for the total score. So I represent that total score with x here. So therefore, what it means is that 24, which is the mean score, equals total number of total score, which I don't know, x, divided by total number of scores, which is 5. All right, so that means I am multiplying through, so meaning 24 times this 5, that gives me 120. So x equals to 120. All right, so I know now the total score that she's having as at the time she took 5 tests. So that is 120. Okay, now the second statement, what should she score on the sieve test to bring her mean score? So on the sieve test, meaning my total number of score is going to be increased to 6. Okay, and then my total score here, which is 120, is also going to be increased by a number. All right, it's going to be increased by a number. So I have 120 plus y. That number is y. I don't know that number, but that number is y for me. So 120 plus y, okay, divided by 6, because she has added another number, so that is number of scores. So plus 6 divided by 6. All right, so doing that, 6 times 26 here, that gives me 126. Then 120 plus y equals 120 plus y. So moving this across board, 156 minus 120, that gives me 36. So the answer there is 36. All right, 36. So guys, as I said, if you don't get any part of this, you can put it in the comment below, and then I'll quickly attend to it and explain it further. Thank you very much. All right, so the answer is 36. The next question is that's question 14. A boy used 2/3 of his weekly savings to buy a textbook. If he realized that he has 10 CDs left, how much was the weekly savings? All right, this is question number 14. Okay, so the boy used 2/3 of his weekly savings to buy a textbook. If he realized that he has 10 CDs left, how much was the weekly savings? All right, so I don't know his weekly savings, so I'll say his weekly savings is X. Okay, so since his weekly savings is X, all that they are saying that he used 2/3 of this weekly savings, okay, 2/3 of this weekly savings to buy a textbook, and then the balance now is 10. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to form an equation from this. So 2/3 of this weekly saving plus the balance he's left with should give me his total savings, which is X. That is all that it means. 2/3 of his weekly savings plus this balance should give me his total weekly savings, which is X. All right, so when I do this, multiplying through by 3, I have 2x plus 3 times 10, that is 30, equals to 3x. Okay, so 30 here equals to 3x minus 2x. That will give us x. So our answer here is this. All right, it's 30. So it's 30 there. Okay, so the next question here we have here, some pages in a book on a bookshelf are missing, so that page 21 is now followed immediately by page 43. How many pages are missing? All right, so we're supposed to have page 21, so we were having page 20 here. Okay, page 21 is supposed to continue, but then since page 21, just after page 21 we have page 43. So how many pages are in between page 21 and page 43? All right, so you have to count the pages between that. Now the trick here is you might be tempted to subtract 21 from 43. Yes, 21 from 43, which will give you an answer that is there, but that isn't the correct answer, because that will give you 22. If you subtract 21 from 43, that will give you 22. But then try counting right from in between 21 to 43, and then you will see that the answer is 21. Okay, so when you count from just after 21, so you start 22, so meaning page 22 is missing, page 23 is missing, page 24 is missing. So you count from 22 to 42. All right, so 22 to 42, then 22 to 42, then you know very well the answer will be 21. So the answer there is 21. So 21. It's kind of a word problem. It said Jemima wants to send letters to 16 of her friends. Half of the letters will need a sheet of paper. I'm taking that again. Half of the letters will need a sheet of paper each to print, and the other half will need 2 sheets each to print. How many sheets of paper will be needed altogether? How many sheets of papers will be needed altogether? So this is the solution. This is the working side DTM. Now, since Jemima knows the number of friends she's sending the letters to, so you know very well Jemima is sending letters to her 16 friends. Okay, so that's 16 friends. That means she needs 16 letters for her 16 friends. All right. So therefore, and they also made mention that half of the letters will need a sheet of paper each to print. So the first half of letters equals 8 letters. All right, first half of letters, that is the 8 letters, and then the other half of letters is also 8 because she's sending 16 letters, so that is 8 for the half. The other half is also 8. Now the first half of letters, which is 8, will need a sheet of paper to print. So so it means that in the first half he will need 8 papers for the 8 letters. Yeah, 8 papers for the 8 letters. 8 letters, because a letter takes 1 page or 1 paper, so that's why we have it here, 8 papers. All right. So, and then the other half of the papers, the other half, they said the other half will need 2 sheets each to print. So the other half, which is also 8 letters, will need 2 sheets of papers to print. So that means it's going to be 2 times 8. Yeah, because the other half of these 8 friends, each of them is taking a letter, but their letters are taking 2 pages. So that is 2 sheets of paper. So that's going to be 16 papers. All right. So we are looking for all the papers that she will need all together. All right. So the sheet of papers all together will be 8 papers here from the first half plus the 16 papers from the second half. From the other half. That gives us 24. So our answer here is 24. All right. Now the second question. There are 45 pupils in a class. What percentage of the class are girls if 18 of them are boys? All right. So this is also here. So we have 14 pupils in a class, and then 45 pupils in a class, and then 18 of them are boys. And then they are asking us for the girls. What percentage of them are girls? All right. So what I did here is the total number of girls 45, total number of boys 18. Total number of girls is what you are looking for. We don't know that. So total number of pupils equals total number of boys plus total number of girls. So since we know our total number of pupils, which is 45, we equate it to 18, which is the total number of boys, plus x, which is the total number of girls. So when we manipulate this equation, we ended up having 27, x representing 27. All right. Now the question is the question demanded for the percentage of girls, not the number of girls. So we have to convert this 27 to percentage. All right. So to convert it to percentage, all that we need to do is to take the total number of girls, which is 27 here, divided by the total number of pupils, which is 45. All right, times 100. Okay, so we take 27 divided by the 45 times 100. That give us 60%. Okay, so 60% represents the number of girls in the class. So 60%, that is the answer here, C. All right, now to the next question. Ajovi is 5 years older than her brother. Which one of the following expressions represent Ajovi's age if her brother is X years old? All right, so we need to represent this in an expression. So we have it here. We know Ajovi's brother's age. The question said if her brother's age is X years old. So Ajovi's brother is X. Ajovi's brother's age is X. All right. So Ajovi's age itself should be the brother's age plus 5, because Ajovi is older than the brother. That's with 5 years difference. All right. So Ajovi's age now becomes X, which is the brother's age plus 5, which can also be written as 5 plus X. So our answer there is here 5 plus X. All right. So guys, before we continue, you can pause the video and look at the solution. If I'm moving too fast, you can pause the video, look at the solution, the way I solve it. In this video, I try to write down all the steps or the solutions in there without use before in the presentation. All right, I don't want to mess up the page the way I did in the first video, so I try to map it up, state it out before doing the screenshot. So that is it, guys. And if you have any question, you can put it in the comment box below down there, and I'll attempt to read as quickly as possible. All right, now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question, question number 4. The capitation grant for a school increased from 4,800 cedis to 6,000 cedis in 1 year. What was the percentage increase in the grant? Okay, so the initial grant given to the school is 4,800. Now the new grant here is 6,000. So it means something has been added to 4,800 to 6,000, and that is what the question is asking. The question is asking of the increase on this 4,800 to get the amount that was increased on this 4,800 to give us the 6,000, which is the new grant. But then it's also demand that the difference should be in percentage. Okay, so first of all, you can look for it before we convert it to percentage. Okay, so the difference that we're going to do now is we're going to take for 6,000, which is the new grant, and then subtract the 4,800 from the 6,000. All right, so I think what I did here is wrong. It's supposed to be 6,000. 6,000 cedis minus 45,000, 4,800 cedis. All right, that should be the right way. Okay, 4,800. Okay, that should be the right way. That will give us a difference of 1,200. That will give us a difference of 1,200. So I misplaced them because this will give us a negative figure, which is wrong. So it's supposed to be 6,000 cedis minus 4,800 cedis. That will give us 1,800. Now we've gotten that this is the amount that was increased on this 4,800 to get the 6,000. All right, so that's the difference. Now we need to represent this in a percentage wise. So percentage of the increase, to get the percentage, we will take the difference divided by the initial grant, then we multiply it by 100. Okay, so that's what we did here. 1,200 divided by 4,800 cedis times 100, that gave us 25%. So our answer is 25% here. All right, so the next question says Mr. Adabo bought 3 items priced at 65 cedis 50 pesos, 36 cedis 45 pesos, and 15 cedis 78 pesos. He paid 350 cedis note. How much change did he receive? All right, so we're told the items he bought, one of them is 65 cedis 50 pesos, another is 36 cedis 45 pesos, and then the other one is 15 cedis 78 pesos. So what I do is to add up, to sum them up. That gave me 117 cedis 73 pesos. Okay, so I know this is the total cost of the item he bought. All right, now how much did he pay? The question said he paid 350 cedis note. So that's 50 cedis note times 3, which gave us 150 cedis. All right, so the currency that he gave is 50 cedis, but he gave them 3 of them. Okay, which amount to 150 cedis. All right, so the change he received is total amount paid, okay, which is 150 cedis, minus total price of items bought, which is 117.73. all right, so the difference, the change that he received is 32 cedis 27 pesos. All right, so that is that's the change that he received, 32 cedis 27 pesos. All right, now to the next question. Dura has a bag containing 3 blue tennis balls. Jennifer has a bag containing 2 black tennis balls. Their balls are all identical except for color. The 2 girls put the balls together into one big bag. if a ball is picked at random from the big bag, what is the probability that the ball is black? All right, this is probability. So from the question, I've deduced that Dora's balls, she's having three blue tennis balls, and then Jennifer also has 2 black tennis ball. Now, the balls that these 2 girls have actually doesn't matter here. All right, what we are looking out for is the color, because that is where the difference comes in. Okay, so all the balls are identical except for their colors. So we'll now pay attention to the colors. So the number of blue balls there is 3, while the number of black balls is 2. So the total number of tennis balls there, that is 5. All right, so the probability of picking a black ball or a black tennis ball from the bag is the number of black tennis balls divided by the total number of tennis ball. All right, so since it's a black ball, we take the number of tennis ball, that's the black tennis ball, which is 2, divided by, so the 2 here, divided by the number of by the total number of tennis balls, which is 5. Okay, so that is our answer here, and so that is 2/5 here. That is the answer here. So 2/5, that is our answer. Now to the next question. A school wants to fence its rectangular playing field measuring 180 meters by 92 meters with wire mesh. How many meters of wire mesh will be needed to complete the fencing? This is what we have. So since it's a rectangular playing field, we can represent it with a rectangle here. Okay, it's in the form of a rectangle. Now it is 180 meters by 92 meters. All right, so we already know 118 since this is the longest side. All right, so the length is 118, and then the width or the breadth is the 92 meters. All right, so the complete fencing around, okay, this is the field, so the complete fencing around here means that we are looking for the perimeter. Okay, we are looking for the perimeter of it. All right, so perimeter of a rectangle, now we now look at the formula. Perimeter of the rectangle is 2 into brackets length plus the breadth. Okay, so where the L, that's the length, and then the B, which is the breadth. So therefore the perimeter of the fence is 2 into bracket 180 meters, which is the length here, plus 92 meters, which is the breadth. Okay, so perimeter of the fence equals to, when you do this calculation, you get 420 meters. So that is our answer there, 420 meters. All right, so that's the perimeter of this whole fence. All right, to the next question. A rectangular playing field is 20 meters long. A straight path is cut across the field along one of its diagonals. If the length of the path is 25 meters, how wide is the playing field? All right, so here we have this. All right, now the question, just like the previous question we just read, this is also a rectangular field, so rectangular playing field, and it is 20 meters long. So I have it here represented here, rectangular, and then we in a rectangular form, and then we have it 20 meters long. So from here to here, that's the 20 meters long, and then a straight path is cut across the field along one of its diagonals. So this is the path, or this is the path that is cut across this field. Okay, and then it's in the form of a diagonal line. So this is it. All right, now if the length of the path is 25 meters, so this path is 25 meters, how wide is the playing field? Okay, so this here, for us to easily get it, I use the Pythagoras theorem here. Okay, so I decided to cut off this side, this area out, so that I can focus on that and then work on it. Okay, so I took it out and I figured I have the 20 meters, which represents how long the field is. All right, and then the path that was cut out, which represent the hypothesis here. which is the 25 meters here. All right, so all that we need to get is our z, and then according our z. Now before we solve it, we have to understand that according to the Pythagoras theorem, it says that s squared, okay, this side squared, all right, equals to y squared, this side squared, plus z squared, which is this side squared. All right, so this is a theory that is constant. We are not manufacturing it, but this is a theory that is normally used. So this theory is constant, so that is how we solve it, taking s squared equals to get this side, okay, this side squared. It means that you have to square this side and add it to this side. All right, that's the adjacent. Then the opposite, you add them, you square each of them, and then add them together. That will give you the square of this side. Okay, so since x is 25 meters, all right, so our x here represents this here 25 meters, and then our y here also represent 20 meters here. Okay, so in that sense, the z also, which is here, also represent the z here. So you don't know the value of the z. All right, so we can use that particular theorem, substitute the numbers into it. So 25 squared equals 20 squared plus z squared. Okay, so that will give us 25 squared will give us 625, and then the 20 squared will give us the 400, then z squared. Then we still go ahead taking this across board. Okay, this across board, then we have 625. So, yeah, 625 minus 400. Okay, so 625 minus 400 equals z squared. So this is wrong here. This is not supposed to be 400. This is not supposed to be 400. Yeah, 625 minus 400 is supposed to be 225. Yeah, 225. So this is supposed to be 2. This is 225 here. So this is 225. 225, not 400. So this is wrong. 225. So 225. So therefore, this side is also wrong. 225. So this is also supposed to be 225. So you take the root of 225. Root of 225. Yes, root of 225. Since we want to eliminate the square here, so we take the root of both sides. All right, the root of both sides. That will give us so the root of 225 is 15 meters. All right, so that is our answer. So this z here is 50 meters. Okay, so that is what we have here. So that's the 50 meters. So please check out this. This is supposed to be 225. So you take the square of 225 here, and then this also is supposed to be 225, because 625, you take out 400 from it, the answer is 225. Yep, so that is it. So when you take the square root of 225, you are getting 15 meters. All right, so that is our answer here. All right, the next question. Now the next question is here. It took a computer lab assistant 35 minutes to fix a problem on 6 computer units. If the lab assistant works at the same rate, how long will it take to fix the same problem on additional 24 computers? All right, so this is also here. You know very well that it took him 35 minutes to fix 6 computers. And then we also and then we were told that if it takes him, we want to find out the time it will take him to fix 24 computers. Okay, so we don't know the time, the minute it will take him to fix those 24 computers. So we represent that with x. We represent that with x. So from this, I could make it. So from this, the equation that is formed is 35 equals 6, and then x equals to 24. All right, so doing the cross multiplication, that is multiplying this by this. Okay, so 35 times we are doing the cross multiplication, Yes, so that is the same thing here. Yeah, the same thing here. So that will be 35 times 24. All right, 35 times 24, and then 6 times x. So that is 6x. 6x equals 24 times 35. All right, so when you did this cross multiplication, you are getting this here. So 6x equals 24 times 35. All right, and then dividing through by x, because when we multiply this, then we divide. So from here we get 6x equals 840. That is 24 times 35 gives us the 840. Okay, yes. So after that, then we want x, so we need to divide through by x, by 6. So 846 divided by 6x divided by 6 here, and then the 840 also divided by the 6 here. Okay, so that is what we are doing here. So at the end of the day, that gives us x equals to 140. Okay, so our x is 140. All right, so now one thing is, this is what we had as x. Note that x is a minute. Okay, so x is a minute, therefore it means that x equals 140 minutes. Yes, 140 minutes here. Yes, so the mistake here, if you are not careful, you get 140 and you might think it is 1 hour 45 minutes, which is wrong. So this is not the correct answer. So 140, remember that we're looking for x in minute. Okay, so x is a minute, so that is 140 minutes, but the answers given here, you don't have any 140 minutes here. Okay, so 140 minutes equals 2 hours 20 minutes, because 120 minutes 120 minutes equals 2 hours. All right, equals 2 hours, and then we are left the 20 minutes. So that is how we got the 2 hours 20 minutes. Okay, so that is how we do it. So you have to be careful here. When you get the 140, you might be confused and then you jump here. So you have to understand that we are looking for the answer in minutes. So after that, you have to make sure you convert it into hours. So that is what we just did here. So that gives us 2 hours 20 minutes. So this is the answer here. All right, 2 hours 20 minutes. Okay, so the last question here, the cost of 3 pencils and two exercise books is 3 cedis 50 pesos. Now the cost of 5 similar pencils and 4 exercise books is 6 cedis 50 pesos. Find the cost of 2 pencils. Okay, so we're told the cost of 3 pencils plus 2 books, that is 3 cedis 50 pesos, and then 5 pencils plus 4 books, that is 6 cedis 50 pesos. Now I decided to name this equation 1 and this equation 2. All right, now making P the subject in equation 2, in this equation here, making P the subject, I said we got P equals to 6.50 divided by 5 minus 4 over 5b. Okay, now to make the working very easier for me, I decided to convert each of these to fractions, each of these to decimals. All right, all these fractions, I convert them to decimals so that my workings will be much clearer and then easier for me. Okay, so converting it, I have P equals 1.3 minus 0.8b. So this becomes my third equation. Okay, so equation 3 here. Now I'm going to substitute this equation 3 into equation 1, this equation here. So substituting the equation 3 into equation 1, I have 3 into bracket 1.3 minus 0.8b. remember P is this whole thing. Okay, so when you put the whole of this in place of P, it means that 3 times everything, all this. Okay, so that is what we did here, plus B. Okay, so the B now follows, plus B, the B now follows, and then equals 3.50. Okay, so 3 times 1.3, that gives us 3.9 minus 3 times 0.8, that is 2.4, and then plus plus the 2b, and then equals 3.5. so 3.9 minus 0.4b equals 3.5, because we did this here. So negative 2.4b plus 2b. See, these are like terms. So since they are like terms, then we can easily work with them. So that gives us negative 0.4b. All right, so taking this to this side, taking the 0.4b to the right side, and then 3.50 to the left side, you get 0.4 equals to 0.4b. all right, so since we are looking for b, okay, since we are looking for b, then we can divide through by 0.4. okay, so dividing through by 0.4 through by 0.4, then we have our b to be 1. okay, but then we're not looking for b, that is number of books. all right, so exercise books. So b, it means one book cost 1 cedi. all right, that is what it means. So the exercise book, the cost of an exercise book here in this scenario is 1 cedi. all right, we're not looking for that, but since we've been able to get b, then we can substitute that into equation 3. So we substitute back into this equation 3, for us to get the pencil, the cost of a pencil. So when you put it in equation 3 is 1.3 minus 0.8 into then that times b, which is the book. So now we represent b with 1, so times 1, so that gives us 0.5. okay, now the question said we should find the cost of 2 pencils. So therefore the cost of 2 pencils is 2 times p. yeah, so that's 2 times p, that's 2 times pencil. So you know that pencil is 0.5, so 2 times 0.5, which is also 1. So it means the cost of our pencil, the cost of 2 pencils is 1 cedi. that is it here. So the first question here is this. Now a tank is 2/3 full. After drawing off 120 liters, it is just 1/4 full. What is the capacity of the tank? all right, so the answer is here, and then this is what we have here. So from the question, is a tank is 2/3 full, so we are looking for the capacity of the tank. all right, so as at the moment we do know the capacity, so we indicate the capacity of the tank with the letter X here, so showing that so let X equals full capacity of the tank. That's the full capacity of the tank. all right, so the question said 2/3 full. okay, 2/3 of the full capacity. okay, so they've given us 2/3 of the full capacity, so we already know when the tank is full, that is for the variable X. So 2/3 full will mean that 2/3 X. all right, and then the question also gave us that after drawing 120 liters, the tank is just 1/4 full. all right, so 1/4 of full, that is what we already know the full capacity to be X. So that is 1/4 full will mean 1/4x. all right, so the X here denotes the full capacity of the tank. all right, so to form the equation here, the tank we take the 2/3 X when we take out 120 liters. all right, it says the tank is 2/3 full. After taking out 120 liters from this 2/3 full, then the remaining is 1/4 X. all right, that is what this whole statement means. So this is our new equation here. So 2/3x minus 120 equals to 1/4 x. all right, so with this grouping the like terms, I would like to group the like terms before I do the elimination of the denominators. So 2/3 x, all right, minus 1/4x, that's bringing this 1/4 here, bringing it to the left side of the equal sign, so that makes it negative. So minus 1/4x, and then sending the 120 negative 120 liters, sending it to the right side of the equal sign, that makes it positive. So you bring that here and we get a positive figure. all right, so we finish grouping the like terms. So now the next thing we do is to multiply through by the LCM. all right, and then the LCM here, that the least common multiple here is 12. all right, so multiple of 3 and multiple of 4, so that gave us 12. So multiplying through the LCM, that is 12 here. So 12 times 2 third x here minus 12 times 1/4 x equals to 12 times 120. So when we do that, all right, so we multiply through by the LCM, the same as here, and then we get 8x, because 3 will cancel itself 1 and go into 12 4 times. All right, so 4 here times the 2x, that gives us 8x, and then here to 4 will go into itself 1, and then I'm going to 12 3 times, so that is 3 here. So 3 times 1x, so that is 3x, also 1440. All right, so that is 12 times 120, giving us 1440. So 8x minus the 3x, that is at 5x. So we now have 5x equals to 1440. So dividing through by 5, and then so that we can get our x to stand alone, that will give us x to be 288 liters. All right, so since we already denoted here the variable s indicate full capacity of the tank, it means that the full capacity of the tank is 288 liters. All right, so in other way around, if we want to get the test to see what our answer is correct, when we do it 2/3 of 288 liters and we subtract 120 from it, we should get a similar answer as 1/4 of 288 liters. All right, that's what you do. So this is it. We first of all try to express this whole question in an equation form. So when we express it, that is when we can group the items and then multiply through by the LCM, and then we continue to get our x. All right, so this is the first stage, that when you get right, then you're able to get the answer right. But if you get this stage wrong, then your answer might be very wrong. All right, so you have to be careful with this forming of this equation. First of all, I have to identify what I don't know, that is the capacity of the tank. That is what I don't know, and that's what I'm looking for. So that is what I identify with the variable x. All right, so with that we go ahead to find it. So our x is 288 liters. All right, so the next question said find the difference between the sum of 2 whole number 3/8 and 3 whole number 1/6 with their difference. All right, so this is what we have here. So this find the difference between, now the first aspect is the sum of this, okay, the sum of this with their difference. All right, so I'm going to look for the sum of this first. After that, then I look for the difference of that as well. Then the answers from both sides, the sum and then the difference, I now look for the difference of those answers. All right, that's what this question is saying. Okay, so looking for the sum of these two. All right, so we take it 2 whole number 3/8 plus 3 whole number 1/6. Okay, so converting these to these are mixed fractions, so converting them to improper fractions, we get 19/8 plus 19/6. All right, that's 8 times 2 here plus 3, and then 6 times 3 here plus 1, that gives us the 19. All right, so we look for the LCM here, that's the 24, 8 and 6 being the least common multiple of 8 and 6, that's 24. Okay, so 8 into 24, now whatever we get times 19 will give us the 57, and then also 6 into 24 times whatever that we get also times 19 will give us the 76 here. So 57 plus them 76 will give us 133 here. All right, so that is what we have there. Okay, so I think that is it. All right, I think let me just do this here. When we got here, I said 8 will go into 24, so you have to do that. So I think 8 goes into 24, that is 3 times. So 8 going here into 24, that's 3 times. So 3 times this 19 is what gives us the 57. All right, that's what gives us the 57. Okay, so 6 also goes into the 24 here also. That's 4 times, and then the 4 times, so 6 here. So 6 goes here 4 times, and then the 4 times 19. All right, so here you have 19 times 4 here, and here we have 3 times 19. Okay, so 3 times 19 will give us this. Okay, that gives us 57, and 19 times 4, that gives us the 76. All right, I hope you guys get this. So after that, we add the 57 plus the 76, and then we get 133 over 24. That is from doing the sum, adding these two figures, that is this and this. When we add the two, then we get 133 over 24. Now let's look for the difference between these two numbers. All right, because that's what the question says. We should look for the sum and look for the difference. After that, then we look for the difference of the answers. All right, so looking for the difference also, we take it 2 whole number 3 over 8 minus 3 whole number 1 over 6, and then the same process, we move on with the same process. And the only difference is that when we get here 57 and 76, we will only subtract. All right, we are not going to add, because this is a difference, so we only subtract. So that's where the difference is between this side and this side. So when we subtract that, then we are getting negative 19 over 24. All right, so from the difference, the answer is this, negative 19 over 24, whilst from the sum, the answer is this, 133 over 24. All right, so after doing the two, then we now come to this place. We now come to this aspect of the question, the difference between the sum and then the difference. Okay, so we now come there, take the answers, this answer which is from here, and then this answer which is also from here. All right, so we have this. Now we are taking the difference of them. So 133 divided by 24 minus negative 19 over 24. All right, so since there's a negative here and this is also a negative here, then it becomes a plus, so that is what gives us the plus here. So 133 divided by 24 plus 19 over 24. All right, and then we get 152 over 24. Okay, then reducing this figure here, we get 19 over 3. All right, that's 152 divided by 24. All right, so when we reduce it, we get 19 over 3. Now this is an improper fraction. Since the question began with mixed fractions, so we also have to leave our answer in a mixed fraction. So we leave it here by converting this improper fraction to the mixed fraction. That is 3 times 6 giving us 18. Yeah, 18 plus the 1 here, that's the 19. That's divided over 3. All right, so this is our answer. So here it's about the understanding of the question. Okay, the question said difference between the sum of these two numbers with their difference. So these two numbers with their difference. Okay, so you find the sum and then you also find their difference, and then you now find the difference of their answers. All right, that's what the question is asking for. Now the third question is here. The third question says 11 more than 2 times Joanna's age is equal to 59. How old is Joanna? All right, so the answer is here. So 11 more than 2 times Joanna's age is equal to 59. How old is Joanna? Now just the same as the first question that we did when that was about the capacity of the tank. We don't know Joanna's age. All right, and that is what we are looking for. So I use a variable here, x, to indicate Joanna's age. All right, since I don't know it. Now let me see, I'm now going to form equation around this variable. Okay, now the question said 11 more than, so I know that 11 is increasing something. Okay, a number is being increased by 11. So 11 more than 2 times Joanna's age. So they are saying 2 times Joanna's age. So since I've already said x is Joanna's age, 2 times x. Okay, so 11 plus 2 times x, that's 11 times 2 times Joanna's age. Okay, is equal to 59. So that is the 59 that we have here. All right, so we can now form our equation. So we now have our 2x. Then when we group the like terms, 2x equals 59 minus 11, because the 11 will move to the right side of the equals sign, so you can say negative figure. And then 2x equals 48. That's when we take the 11 from the 59, you get 48. Dividing through by 2, because we want x. So when you divide through by 2, then our x is now 24. All right, x is now 24. So the next question here, find the area of the shaded portion. So I have one diagram here and another diagram here. Here this is a rectangle here with a triangle in it, and then here a triangle here with a rectangle here with a rectangle in it. So the question is to find the area, the shaded portion of these two figures. Okay, now let's look at this first one here. Now this first one here, what we do is, now you know very well that the area of a rectangle is length times breadth. Okay, the length here and then the breadth here. Okay, so you know very well that is the formula for finding the area of a rectangle. Okay, so all that we have to do is then to take our 8 centimeters, which is given to us here, 8 centimeters, and then our breadth, which is 7 centimeters. So the breadth is 7 centimeters. Okay, so 8 centimeters times 7 centimeters, that gives us 56 centimeters squared. Since it's an area, it's going to be in square, so 56 centimeters square. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is to look for the area of triangle. Okay, this triangle that is in it. Okay, and the area of the triangle, the formula is half times breadth times height, half times base times height. Okay, so the base here, so half times base times height. All right, so you know very well that our height is here, that is 3 centimeters. Okay, now for us to figure out which of these is the base, we have to make sure we locate our 90 degrees somewhere here. Okay, so the area facing the 90 degrees is the hypothesis, so that is our hypothesis. So therefore it means that this here, the 4 here, becomes our base. Okay, that is the base. All right, so half times base times height, so the 4 is our base and now the 3 is our height, so half times 4 times 3, and then the solution, the answer there is 6 centimeters squared. All right, since that it's also in area, it is with squared. Okay, it will be in squared. All right, now this here we can just look for the area of the rectangle and stop there. We'd have to look for the area of the triangle here and subtract it from the area of the rectangle, because this triangle here is also occupying a portion. Okay, it's occupying a portion of the rectangle. Okay, so we want the area of the rectangle itself, that's the shaded portion. Okay, so area of the shaded portion is now going to be the area of the rectangle, this whole thing, minus the area of the triangle here inside here. Yes, so area of the shaded portion is 56 centimeters squared minus area area of the triangle, which is 6 centimeters squared, and then the area of the shaded portion now is 50 centimeters squared. All right, so it's 50 centimeters squared. That is our answer here. Okay, so the next diagram here, also I think also similar to the first one. Also, okay, first one here we have a triangle and then the rectangle is in the triangle. Okay, so we have to look for the area of the shaded portion. Okay, so the same way we did the previous question, we're going to look for the area of the triangle itself, then we now look for the area of the rectangle and then subtract it from the area of the triangle. Okay, so the area of this whole thing will be well, after getting that, then you should understand that this rectangle is in in the triangle. Okay, so it's also taking another area. So to get the actual area of the shaded portion, we need to take out this this rectangle. All right, so area of the rectangle, as you've seen in the previous solution, is half times base times height. All right, so to locate our base here, also we said we should look for our 90, the angle 90 here. So it is here, angle 90 is here. So this means that this is our base, and then this is our height. So the height is 8 centimeters and the base is 12 centimeters. Okay, so it means that the area of triangle is going to be half times 12 centimeters times 8 centimeters, and when we put this into the calculator, we get 48 centimeters squared. All right, so that is the area of this triangle. Now the area of the rectangle here that we're going to look for is length times breadth. All right, we saw that also in the previous question. So length times breadth. So the length here is 5 centimeters, and then the breadth here is 3 centimeters. So it's going to be 5 centimeters times 3 centimeters. All right, so putting that together, we get 15 centimeters squared as the area of the rectangle. All right, now to get the area of the shaded portion, all that we need to do is to take the area of the triangle and then we subtract the area of the rectangle from it. Okay, so we have area of the triangle to be 48 centimeters squared, and then minus area of the rectangle, which is 15 centimeters squared, and then our answer is 33 centimeters squared. All right, so this is our answer here. Okay,
now to our first question. An exam was conducted for 25 pupils. 12 of them passed the exam. What percentage of the pupils failed the exam? Now this is a very simple question. We have been given some values, so all that we need to do is to start with those values. All right, so from the question we know very well the number of pupils that are in the class, the total number of pupils in the class, that is 25 pupils, and also we also know the number of pupils that passed the examination, that is 12 people. So with these two values, we should be able to get the number of pupils that failed the examination. So we have 25 as the total number of pupils in the classroom, and then 12 as the number of pupils that passed the examination. Now with this, the number of pupils who failed is now going to be x minus y. Now note that I'm using x to denote the total number of pupils in the class, and also I'm using y to denote the total the number of people who passed the examination. So x, which is number of people who the total number of people in the class, and then y, number of people who passed the examination. So x minus y, and that should give us 25 minus 12. All right, so then 25 minus 12, and that is 13. So our total number of pupils, that actually failed the examination is 13. Right, now the question said the percentage of pupils that failed the exam, not the number of people who failed the exam. So we are looking for the percentage. So at this point we need to convert this value into a percentage aspect. So we are converting this into a percentage. Now to do that, we're taking the 13 that we've gotten, the 13, that's number of people that failed, we're taking that over 25. Okay, so 13 of 25 times 100, and that gives us 52%. All right, so it means that the number of people that failed, or the percentage of people that failed the exam, is 52%. All right, so this is the answer. So we worked it. After getting the number, then we now convert it into a percentage aspect. All right, now there's also an alternative way of doing this without coming down to convert it here. So the alternative method is here. Now you know very well that the 25 pupils represent 100%. Okay, we can use this to represent that, because the 25 pupils, that's the total number of people in the classroom. So using 100%, or using it in percentage wise, we can say that 25 pupils represent
100%. If one of them is out, assuming 25 people and one people is out of the 25, it's no more going to be 100%. It's going to be less than 100%. So since the 25, that's the total number of people we have there, that can be represented as 100%, right? And also the number of pupils that passed here is 12. We know that 12. So taking this 12, we in this aspect, we want to convert the number of people that passed into the percentage wise. So we take that, the number of people that passed, that's 12 divided by 25 times 100, and that gives us 48%. So 48% of the pupils passed the exam. So since we know that the total number of pupils, percentage of the number of pupils in the class is 100, and then the percentage of the pupils that passed, all that we need to do is to take that 100% minus the 48%, and that gives us 52%. So therefore percentage of pupils who failed the examination is 52%. So any of the method that you use, you will still arrive at the same answer. So when you meet a question like this, it's you have to decide if you feel comfortable going with the first alternative that I gave, or the first option that I gave. You can go that way. After you finish everything, then the last thing is for you to convert it, or you can decide to convert it and then put all of them in percentage wise and do the subtraction when you have already converted them into percentage. So this is the question, and this few of the approaches that you can use to solve this particular question. Now to the next question. The capitation grant for a school increased from 4,800 cedis to 6,000 cedis in 1 year. What was the percentage increase in the grant? Quickly to the solution. Now, this question is also similar to the previous question we just looked at. All right, we know our percentage, we know our initial grant that was given to us, and then we know our value, the new value that we have, which is the 6,000. So as at this moment, we are receiving 6,000 as our capitation grant. Previously we were receiving 4,800, but it has now been increased to 6,000. So our initial value here and our current value here is, so the initial value or the initial grant is 4,800, and the current value is 6,000. So with this, knowing our current value and the initial grant, we should be able to get the increase, okay, the increase in amount. So the increase in amount is going to be 6,000, which is our current grant, minus our initial grant, which is 4,800. So therefore additional grant is 1,200 cedis. All right, so also you're going to convert it, because the question said percentage increase in the grant, so we're going to convert this also into a percentage. So that's what we did here. 1,200 cedis divided by 4,800 cedis times 100, and that gives us 25%. So 25%, I think I repeated the peoples here, so this shouldn't be peoples. Now to our next question. A district assembly plans to build a public parking lot. The diagram below represents the proposed shape of the parking lot. So we have the diagram here, you can look at it here, and then also we have the questions here. So the first question, or question A, is what is the value of y in the diagram? So the value of this here, the y here in the diagram, what is the value? And then also B, the district assembly. So the B part of the question says the district assembly wants to fence the parking lot. All right, they want to fence this whole parking lot. So this is the shape of the parking lot. Now, how many meters of fencing materials will be required to fence this particular parking lot? So this is the question, and this is the diagram you have here. Let's quickly look at the solution and how we can approach a question like this. Now we have it. So the first aspect says what is the value of y in the diagram. So you know this is y here, they're asking us of this value. So we know 100 meters, 50 meters, y 120 meters, and then this is the 50 meters also. You don't know the value of this aspect as well. Now trying to match, or trying to use comparison wise, we can say that this line here is the same as this line here. All right, the 100 meters here is the same as from here y all the way to this point. So we can do that dotted line here to denote that. Okay, so therefore we can also say that we can name this as x, and then say that y, well, say that 100 meters is the same as y plus x, because this from this point here to the point at the bottom here is x, and then from here upwards is y. So y plus x is the same as 100 meters. All right, so using comparison we can write that down. So 100 meters equals to y plus x. All right, but also using the same comparison method, we can also say that x here, the measurement of x here is the same as the measurement here. So s can also stand in for 50 meters. So x here, the measurement of x here is also the same as the measurement of 50 here. So this line and this line are also the same. So x is 50 meters. Looking at this here, the same comparison. So 50 meters equals to x here. So that's what we have. So therefore it means we can have x to be substituted here, since x equals 50 meters. So we can have therefore 100 meters equals to y plus 50 meters. 100 meters equals to y plus 50 meters. Now with this, when you take change of subject, we should be able to get 100 meters equals to y plus 50 meters, which will give us y equals 100 meters minus 50 meters. So it means that y equals 50 meters. So the value of y here is 50 meters. Now to the next question here, the second part of this question. It says the district assembly want to fence the parking lot. How many meters of fencing materials will be required? And this question, what the question is requiring from us, here is to calculate the perimeter of the whole parking lot. All right, so we're going to add this side 100 meters plus the 50 meters plus this 50 meters. That's the y that we just obtained in the previous question. And then 120 meters and then 50 meters here as well, and then this portion also will be added because that's the perimeter. So the perimeter here, the perimeter is the length of the outer edge of a shape. So that is perimeter. So this is from the Cambridge Advanced Learner's Dictionary 3rd edition. So they said perimeter, that's the length of the outer edge of a shape. So we need to make sure we add up everything. We add up the whole distance around this particular parking lot. Okay, so with that we can now say P, which is the perimeter, is 100 meters. This 100 meters here plus 50 meters, the 50 meters at the top here, plus 50 meters, that's this 50 meters as well, plus 120 meters, this particular dimension here, plus 50 meters here, that's also here, and then plus. So now we need to add this side and we don't know it, so we need to find out this measurement here. So using the same comparison method that we used in the previous part of the question, of this particular question, we can also equate it here, saying that extending this line, we know that this is the same measurement as this side. So this line should be the same measurement as this line. So this should be 50 meters. Okay, so this is 50 meters, just like this, because they all have the same measurement. All right. Now, since they have the same measurement, this is 50 and this is 120 meters, because this line comprises of this aspect and this aspect. So we can now add the 50 meters and the 120 meters to get the measurement of this particular line here. So that is 170 meters here. All right, so therefore we can now put our 170 meters here and then continue our calculation. So adding up everything, all the figures around this particular shape, we end up having 540 meters. So the perimeter of this particular shape is 540 meters. Now to our next question. A farmer with 7 by 8 centimeters land decided to construct a triangular house with dimensions 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters and 5 centimeters at the middle of his farm. What is the area of the farmed portion? quickly to the solution. Now this question has given us two different aspects. Okay, so the farmer has a portion of land and the land is 7 by 8 centimeters. Okay, so with this value 7 by 8 centimeters, we know very well that one of the side will be longer than the other. Okay, so with this, and then with our previous knowledge in shapes, we know very well that a triangle, a rectangle fit into this dimension, because for a rectangle, one side is longer than the other. For a square, all the sides are equal, but for a rectangle, one side is longer than the other. So 7 by 8 centimeters would definitely mean that the shape of the farm is in a rectangular form. All right, so we can now put that down, knowing very well that that is in a rectangular form, and know that this is not drawn to scale. Okay, so this is the shape of the farm. Now we have to figure out which side is 7 centimeters and then which side is also 8 centimeters. So the longer side is the 8 centimeters, definitely that's the highest figure, and then the shorter side is the 7 centimeters, so that is also here. All right, so we've gotten this aspect, that's a farmer with 7 by 8 centimeters land. So we have gotten that aspect sorted out. 7 by 8 centimeters, that's in a rectangular form. Then we've also known that this side, the longer side, is the 8 centimeters, the shorter side is the 7 centimeters. Now to the second part of the question. All right, he said he wants to construct a triangular house with dimensions 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and 5 centimeters at the middle of his farm. So we know also, in fact, the question has even given us a clue that a triangular house meaning is going to be in a triangle. All right, and some questions might even be silent about this. They will just give you the dimensions 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and 5 centimeters. You should be able to know that these three values should be able to form a triangle for you. But the question was very explicit and gave us triangular house, giving us a tip there, triangular house. So you know we need a triangle at the middle of his farm. So we have our triangle here drawn at the middle of the farm, and then we need to label it. So we have 3 centimeters one side, another side also 4 centimeters, and also 5 centimeters. So this is the side of the house is building. So this is the dimensions of the house is building at the middle of his farm. Okay, now the question is, what is the area of the farmed portion? So the portion that he has farmed, what is that? What is the area of that portion? Okay, now let's look at the area of this particular triangle, this whole farm that he's having. Let's look at the area of that whole farm. The area of the triangle, of the rectangle, that's the area of the farm, is length times breadth. That's the formula for finding the area of a rectangle, length times breadth. Now the length here is 8 centimeters, and then the breadth is 7 centimeters. So this gives us 56 centimeters squared. All right, this is an area, so it should be squared. 56 centimeters squared. We have gotten the area of this particular rectangle. The next thing we need to do is to find the area of the house is building. All right, so the house is building is in a triangular form, and then we need to find the area of that also. So to find the area of a triangle is half times breadth times height. That's the area of a triangle, half of breadth and height. That is what we are doing. So we take our height, and then we take our half, multiply it by our breadth, which is the 4 centimeters here, and then we also multiply by our height, which is 3 centimeters here. All right, and then the answer here is 6 centimeters squared. So we've now gotten the area of the house and then the area of the farm. Now remember that the area of the house is in the area of the farm, because he's building in the farm, he's building on that same piece of land. So he can no more farm on the whole portion of the land. Portion of the land is going to be used for the building. So since we know the area of that particular of the whole farm, and then we also know the area of the house, then we should be able to get the portion that he's able to use for farming, solely for farming. So we'll move on to do that now, and then we find the area. So area of the farm minus area of the house, taking out this area from it, from the whole rectangle or from the whole farm, we are able to get an answer here that is 56 centimeters. That's the area of the whole farm, minus 6 centimeters squared, that's the area of the house, and then the answer is 50 centimeters squared. So therefore the area of the farmed portion is 50 centimeters squared. Alright, this is it. So 50 centimeters squared. The circle graph below represents classes A and B. So we have class A, boys 46%, and then girls X, we don't know the value of girls, and then the total is 50. B also boys X, and then because you don't know the value of boys, and then girls 40%, so the total here is 60. So the total number of pupils in class B is 60. The question is, how many pupils in the two classes are girls? To approach this question, there are several ways of approaching this question. I'm going to take one of the steps. You can try to work it the other way and then also see if you arrive at the same answer. I'm going to approach it by converting everything into percentage. Okay, so I'm taking it from the percentage wise. Using percentage, I know very well that the total number of pupils in the class is 50. Right now, it means the total number of people we have in the class is 50, and that will mean that 100%, because these 50 people that we have in the class, if you mark register, it means that, and they are all present, then it means 100% of the class is present. Simply 100% denoting the total number of pupils in the class. Apart from this 100%, we have also been given the number of the percentage of boys in the class. So we can take our 100% and then subtract the percentage of boys from that 100%, that's the total number of people, the total percentage of the class, and then that will give us the percentage of the girls. We take 100% minus 46%, then we get 54%. That is the percentage of girls in the class. Therefore 50% of 50 equals 27. Now the 50, so we are now converting it back to the actual number. Okay, so we want to know the number of people, the number of girls in class A. When we take 54%, the 54% is the percentage of girls in the class, and the 50 is the total number of people or pupils in class A. So 54% times 50 equals 27, right? 27. So we have 27 girls in class A. Now when we get to class B, in class B also we have the total number of pupils to be 60, and then we can also use 100% to denote that. We have been given the percentage of girls, which is 40%. So straight away we're going to take 40% times 60. Okay, 40% is the percentage of girls, and then 60 is the total number of girls in the class. So we are converting to the actual number of girls in the class. So 40% times 60, that's 24. All right, so in class B we have 24 girls, in class A 27 girls. Now the question is, how many pupils in the two classes are girls? To get that, we take the two numbers, add them together, and then we have our total number of pupils who are girls in the two classes. That is 51 here.
Question 1. A teacher organized activities for 3 classes of 24 pupils and 4 classes of 26 pupils. What was the total number of pupils involved? This question involved 2 categories of classes. The first category of classes involved 3 classes of 24 pupils, and the second category is about 4 classes of 26 pupils. To solve this, I will start by analyzing the 3 classes, which involves 24 pupils. So that's here I have class X, class Y, class Z. Each of these classes have 24 pupils. So the total of these classes is 72 pupils. Mind you, each of these classes have 24 pupils and not all the classes put together have totally 24 pupils, but rather each of them have 24 pupils. The next aspect of the question is the second category, that is 4 classes of 26 pupils. So what we have here is Class A having 26 pupils, Class B having 26 pupils, Class C having 26 pupils, and Class D having 26 pupils. Putting all this together, we get 104 pupils. So we have the first aspect of it, which is dealing with 3 classes, each of them having 24 pupils, and the second part dealing with 4 classes, each of them having 26 pupils. To sum this up, we bring the 72 plus the 104 pupils. This gives us 176 pupils. The total number of pupils involved in this activity organized by the teacher is 176 pupils. Question number 2. The angle of elevation of an airplane is 23 degrees and its altitude is 2500 meters. How far away is it? To make this question very easier for me to solve, I'll start by putting this question in a graphical representation so that I'll be able to solve it easily. The question said the angle of elevation of an airplane is 23 degrees and its altitude is 2500 meters. Let's understand that when we talk of altitude, altitude is about something that is vertical, or something that is above sea level. So the altitude, which is 2500 meters, will look like this. So it's in a vertical form and it is 2500 meters. Another thing we need to understand is the elevation. When we talk of elevation, is something that is moving upward, rising. So the elevation here is in the form of a line showing like this. This line, we don't know its measurement. At the point, we don't know its measurement. Putting this or joining the dots together will give us a figure like this. Now let's remember also that they said the angle of elevation. The question said the angle of elevation is 23 degrees. So that is what we have here as 23 degrees. So this is the line, the elevation line, just leaning, and then it's in an upright motion. We don't know the length of this line. And then the angle that is forming with its base is what we know here, that's 23 degrees. So this is the shape that we'll be able to form from this equation. From this shape, we know that this is a right angle triangle. And to solve a right angle triangle, one of the methods we use is either we use a Pythagoras theorem or we use the trig functions. So the trigonometric functions. From this equation, we have an angle and a side. Therefore, the easiest way to approach this is to use the trigonometric function known as the sine. If you are not familiar with the trigonometric function and the Pythagoras theorem, there's a link in the description section below. You can click on it and check it out. So I'll go ahead and use the sine function to solve this. The sine function that we're going to use this here is sine theta equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. From the figure that we have here, the side that is directly opposite the angle 90 degrees, that is the opposite, that is x. And it's very apparent that that is what the question is asking us to look for. Sine theta equals to opposite divided by hypotenuse. We have the theta, while the angle, the 23 degrees, we have it given to us in the question. And also the opposite figure is also located in the question, that's 2500 meters. We have that there. But what we are looking for is hypotenuse. So we indicate that with x. Substituting these values into the equation, into the formula, we have something like this. Sine 23 equal to 2500 meters divided by x. Doing a cross multiplication and the division, we are able to get x equals to 2500 meters divided by sine 23. If you go ahead and find the sine of 23 using a calculator, we have 0.39073111285. Dividing 2500 meters by the sine 23, that is 0.39073111285, we get 6398261663. This therefore means that the airplane is 6,000 398.26 meters away. Question number 3. If x plus 6 divided by x equal to 5, find the value of x squared plus 36 divided by x squared. For this question, we have been given two equations. The first equation can help us get an answer for a variable, and the answer for this variable is what we will use to obtain the answer for the second equation. So the first equation given to us, x plus 6 divided by x equals to 5. We need to solve this. Solving this will give us the value for x. Let's go ahead and solve that. So multiplying both sides by x, we are going to reduce something here. So we have x multiplied by x, x times 6 divided by x, and then here also 5 times x. So we have x squared plus 6 equal to 5x here. X squared here minus 5x, that's bringing this 5 here, plus 6 equal to 0. Solving this quadratically, we have x minus 2 equals to 0, x minus 3 equals 0. So we have the values of x to be 2 and 3. Now we have to substitute these figures, each of them, into the formula to test it to see what we will get. So we have substituting x equals to 2. That gives us 2 here, that's 2 squared, because we are putting the value of x, which is 2, into this whole formula. So 2 squared plus 36 divided by 2 squared. That will give us 4 plus 36 divided by 4. And the answer here is 13. This is an answer. Let's go ahead and substitute the next value, which is x equals to 3, and see what we get. Substituting x equal to 3, we have 3 squared plus 36 divided by 3 squared, and that gives us 9 plus 36 divided by 9, and the answer is also 13. Therefore it means that x plus 6 divided by x equals 5, and then the value of x will now give us x squared plus 36 divided by x squared as 13. So whether you take 2 or 3, you still get 13. Question number 4. A student was asked to stretch a string to extend its length by 50%. The original length of the string was 30 centimeters. What will be the length of the extended string? From the question, we know the length of the original string, that is 30 centimeters. And also, we also know the length by which the student is supposed to stretch the original string, that is 50%. Now, stretching it by 50% means that the string is already there. Pull it, extend it, pull it for it to extend by 50% of its original size. Therefore, we have 50% times 30. That gives us 15 centimeters. Now, this is the length of the stretched part, not the string itself, not the whole string. This is the length of the extended part. So the question said we should find the length of the extended string, because the string has been extended. So what is the new length of the string? So that's going to be 30 centimeters plus 15 centimeters, and that gives us 45 centimeters here. Question number 5. A ball is thrown at a speed of 10 meters per second. The ball is thrown at an angle of 35 degrees. Find A, the vertical speed of the ball, and B, the horizontal speed of the ball. First of all, let us analyze this question. The ball is thrown at a speed of 10 meters per second. So I stand here and then I throw a ball. So when I throw it, it moves backwards. The speed that it moves by is what? It moves 10 meters per second. So at each second it moves 10 meters, or it covers 10 meters. The line will look like this. This is the speed at which the ball moves, and then it is thrown at an angle of 35 degrees. So there's an angle that is made here. The angle at which I threw it is not 90 degrees whereby it goes up. The angle at which the ball is thrown is 35 degrees, that is here. So we have something like this. So the angle is here 35 degrees. Now we need to find out the vertical speed of the ball. From the figure that we have drawn, we have an angle, and then also we have a side. So this figure here represents a right angled triangle, and to solve a figure similar to this, we can use the Pythagorean theorem, or we can use the trigonometric functions. The perfect way to go with this question is to use the trigonometric function. So we can use the sine function here to solve this, because we have an angle and then also we have a hypotenuse. So all that we need to look for is to get the opposite. We use the sine theta formula. So sine theta equals opposite divided by hypotenuse. You can go ahead and then simplify this formula again by having opposite, since that's what we are looking for, that's x. Opposite equals to hypotenuse times sine theta. Substituting each of these values there, we know that the opposite is x, then we have the hypotenuse, which is 10, and then the theta is 35 degrees. So sine theta itself times the 10, that gives us 5.735764,364. Since x represents the opposite of this, and then that it also represents the vertical speed, it therefore means that the vertical speed of the ball is 5.74 meters per second. So at each second, the ball covers 5.74 meters. The second part of the question is to find the horizontal speed of the ball. For this also we use a trig function, and for this trig function we're going to use the cosine. So we lay down the formula. Cosine or cos theta equals adjacent divided by hypotenuse. You can still go ahead and simplify this formula, since we are looking for the adjacent. We will have adjacent equals to hypotenuse times cos theta. Now we have all the variables here. We can go ahead and substitute them. Substituting them will give us y equals to 10, which is hypotenuse, times cos theta. The theta is 35. So 10 times cos theta will give us 8.191520443. Since y represents the adjacent, and that also represents the horizontal speed of the ball, it therefore means that the horizontal speed of the ball is 8.19 meters per second. This means at each second, or at every second, the ball covers 8.19 meters. Question number 6. John and Joanna are in a contest. The contest involves 6 tests with a mean of 26 as the highest score. At the end of the 5th test, John scored a mean of 24, whilst Joanna scored a mean of 25. What score should John obtain on the final test to get the highest mean? First of all, let's identify the highest score that the question is giving us. The highest score that they need to attain is 26 here. So the highest mean that they need is 26 mean. But at the end of the 5th test, John had already scored a mean of 24. And let's also remember that the question is asking us the score John should obtain on the final test to get the highest mean. So at the moment, we have to pretend as if there's nothing there talking about Joanna, because we don't need anything about Joanna. We are looking for a figure that John will need to attain in order to get the highest mean, and the highest mean is 26. So therefore, let's focus on John. So by the end of the 5th test, John already have 24, a mean of 24. and the number of items that was able to help John to get this mean of 24 is 5. We want to know the sum of all the items, all these 5 tests. When we add them up together, what do we get? We don't know that yet, so you need to find that. Now to find that, we're going to use an average formula, that's the mean. The mean formula is sum of all items divided by number of items. So what we're going to do now is we substitute everything that we have from John into this formula and look for what we don't have. So we have mean, which is 24, and then equal to x, which is sum of all items. That is what we don't know. And then divided by 5, that is the number of items. When we substitute that, and then we do the cross multiplication, we have x to be 120. This means that as at the end of the 5th test, all the 5 tests put together give John 120 marks. Finding the mean of all these 5 tests put together and then their total gives John a mean of 24. That's what it means. Now let's go ahead and find out the sieve test. As at the final test, what has John accumulated? As at the final test, that's the sieve test, the mean John is supposed to get is 26. We are aware of that because that's the highest mean. The number of items that should give John 26 is 6 items. Also, the sum of all items, everything that John has done put together, should give him a figure. At the moment, we know that all his 5 items come together to give him 120. The sum of that gives him 120. Therefore, the 120 plus a figure or plus the final score should give him the sum of all the items that he needs under the final test. So that is 120 plus y. Likewise, we need to use the mean formula to get the figure that we need for him to get the 26 mean. So substituting all these figures into the mean formula, we have 26 equal to 120 plus y divided by the number of items. 26 is the mean that he needs to get. 120 plus y, that is the sum of all items. The sum of 5 items plus the sieve item divided by the number of items. The number of items here is 6, so this is supposed to be 6. So when we put this in a formula, we have 26 equals to 120 plus y divided by 6. Now doing the necessary cross multiplication, we have 120 plus y equals to 156, and we have y equals 36. This therefore means that John needs to obtain 36 in the final test to get the highest mean. Question 7. Rebecca offered 1/3 of her salary to the children's home and to give to the church. What fraction of her salary is left? And these are some of the information that we have from the question. We know that the whole salary in a fraction form is 1. So her whole salary in the fraction form is 1. And then the fraction that Rebecca offered to the children's home is 1/3. Also, the fraction that Rebecca offered to the church is 2/5. Therefore, we need to put this together and then subtract it from her whole salary. So we are putting together the fraction offered to the children's home and then the fraction offered to the church, and then we are taking that away from the whole salary, that's the 1, and we have this. So 1 minus 1/3 plus 2/5, and then we have 1 minus 5 plus 6 because 15. Then working this out gives us 1 minus 11 divided by 15, and still going ahead to find the LCM here, we have 15 minus 11 divided by 15, and then the final answer is 4 divided by 15. So this is the final answer. Question number 8. There are 60 pupils in a class. 25% of these people were sacked for improper dressing. What percentage of the remaining peoples are girls if 18 of them are boys? What we know from the question is that there are 60 peoples in a class. That is here. We also know that the number of people sacked from the class, or the percentage of people sacked from the class for improper dressing, is 25%. And it's 25% of the total number of people in the class. Hence, we can go ahead and compute that. That's 25% times 60. And that means we have 15 people that were sacked out of the class. Now, we also know that the number of remaining pupils. Now, it's easy for us to now get the number of remaining pupils in the class. Number of pupils remaining in the class, we have 60 pupils minus 15. That's 15 were those who were sacked. And the answer is 45 pupils. The question also gave us a clue that the number of boys that are left, that are in the remaining number, is 18. I want to know. So with this also we can know the number of girls that are left in the class. So that is 45 pupils minus 18. Remember, 45 pupils represents the number of pupils that are in the class, that are remaining in the class. So 45 pupils minus 18. 18 represents the number of boys in the class. Therefore, we have 27 as the number of girls in the class. Now, to get the percentage of girls among the remaining pupils, we have 27 divided by 45 times 100. Remember, it's not divided by 60, but it's divided by 45 because we are looking for the percentage of girls among the remaining pupils, not the percentage of girls in the class, or not the percentage of girls in the 60, rather than the 60 pupils, but among the remaining pupils. Therefore, we have 27 divided by 45 times 100, and that gives us 60%. Therefore, 60% of the remaining pupils are girls. Question 9. A football field measures 80 meters by 50 meters. A. What is the perimeter of the football field? And B. If the length of the field is extended by 10 meters, what will be the area of the extended football field? Now, before we solve this question, let's analyze it. Let's put it in a graphical representation form. We have the football field measures 80 meters. So I have my 80 meters here. And then also it's measured by 50 meters. So I have 50 meters here. So this is what I have as the figure. Now closing it up, since this is a football field, definitely all the sides will be closed. So we have something like this. This is a rectangle, so it should be very easy for us to find the perimeter of this football field. So the question said we should find the perimeter of the football field. Now to find the perimeter of a rectangle, what we use is P, that's perimeter, that's equals to 2 times length plus 2 times breadth. In essence, this means that we are adding up everything around this, and this is 80 meters, this is also 80 meters, this is 50 meters, this is also equal to this side, which is 50 meters. So we can decide to add up everything, or you can just take 2 times whatever that is here, meaning 2 times this, and then plus 2 times this. So that's what we have there. So that gives us 2 times 80 plus 2 times 50. 2 times 80 is 160 meters, and 2 times 50 is 100 meters. So putting this together, we have 260 meters. Therefore, the perimeter of the football field is 260 meters. Let's go to the next question. The next question said, if the length of the field is extended by 10 meters. So meaning the length of this field is extended by 10 meters. So let's see how that will look like. The length is added by 10 meters. It means it's no more 80 meters. is now more than 80 meters because they've extended the length. What will be the area of the extended football field? So the area of the extended football field, area of a rectangle is length times breadth. Now the length at the moment is 90 meters, not 80 meters. It's 90 meters because it has been extended by 10 meters. So 80 meters plus the 10 meters gives us the 90 meters plus 50 meters. That's the breadth of it. So the area is 4,500 meters squared. Therefore, the area of the extended football field is 4,500 meters squared. Remember that we are looking for the area, and that is why you have it squared. Question number 10. Find the sum of 3 over 5 plus 1 over 5. This is an easy question. So we'll go ahead and solve this. 3 over 5 plus 1 over 5. To get this, since they all have the same denominator, we shouldn't have any difficulty in solving this. They have the same denominator. Therefore, it means that the denominator will be maintained, and then the numerators will be added, that's 3 plus 1. Question number 11. Find the next two terms in the pattern 6, 12, 18. To find the next term in this pattern, first we need to know the difference between the first term and the second term. Or we have to know the two terms following each other. So to do that, we take the second term and then we subtract the first term from it. Doing that, we have 12 minus 6, or you can take 18 minus 12. What we have, the difference is 6. Now that we have that, we can now form an equation from this. And the equation will look like this. Next term, that is y, because current term, which is x plus 6. Now to test this, I'll use the third number. We have y equals x plus 6. Remember we said next term, y is the next term, representing next term. So that's what we are looking for. So in this scenario, we assume the number 18 is what we are looking for. So just to test our formula. So we have y equals to 12, which is the current term. 12 plus 6, that gives us 18. Hence we can go ahead and implement that for the next one. So we can now look for y equals x plus 6, and y is what we are looking for, and the current term is 18 now. It's 18, and adding 6 to it will give us 24. Can do that for the last one. So we have y equals x plus 6, and we have y, that's what we are looking for, 24 plus 6. 24 is the current term, that is here, what we obtain here, plus 6, that is 30. So we have 30 here, that's the last term. Therefore, the answer is 24 and 30. Question number 12. What is the LCM of 15, 6, and 10? The question is asking of LCM, and the LCM is least common multiple of a number. The question is asking of the least common multiple of 15, 6, and 10. The number is just, and this is very clear. We are looking for the least common multiple. So what we need to do now is to put out the multiples of 15, the multiples of 6, and the multiples of 10. When we put out these multiples, then we'll be able to identify the least common multiples among them. So we'll start by listing the multiples of 15. So we have 15 times 1, that is 15. 15 times 2, that is 30. 15 times 3, that is 45. 15 times 4, that is 60. 15 times 5, that is 70. 15 times 6, that is 90, and so on and so forth. But I'll stop here. And then also we look for the multiples of 6. So the multiples of 6 we have here: 6 times 1, that is 6, 6 times 2, that is 12, 6 times 3, that is 18, 6 times 4, that is 24, 6 times 5, that is 30, 6 times 6, that is 36, 6 times 7, 42, and then 6 times 8, 48. So that's what we have here. And then also we list the multiples of 10. 10 times 1, that is 10, 10 times 2, 20, 10 times 3, 30, 10 times 4, 40, 10 times 5, 50, and 10 times 6, 60, and so on and so forth. Now from this, we have to look for the number that is common in each of them. So 15 is here, it's not here, and it's not here. 30 is here, it's here, and then also is here. So that is the least number that is common among all these three numbers. So that is the least common multiple of 15, 6, and 10. So therefore the LCM of 15, 6, and 10 is 30. Question number 13. A boy used 2/3 of his weekly savings to buy a textbook. If he realized that he has 10 cedis, how much was the weekly savings? This is an easy question as well. All the information that we know about the boy and his weekly savings is here. The weekly savings itself, you don't know it. But the fraction that he used to buy the textbooks is 2/3 of his weekly savings. And then also the balance that he realized that he's having is 10 cedis. So therefore, we need to form a formula from this, or an equation from this. We know very well that his weekly savings is the same as his textbook cost plus his balance. So putting the textbook cost and the balance together should be the same as his weekly savings. So go ahead and form the formula. His weekly savings, we don't know that is x, and then 2/3 of x, that is 2/3 of his weekly savings is what he spends on the book, and then plus the 10 cedis balance. That's what we have here. Now multiplying through by 3, we have 3x equals to 2x plus 30. Moving the 2 to this side, we have x equals 30. Therefore means that the boy's weekly savings is 30 cedis. Question number 14. If 9 plus x equals 24, then x is 33. To get this, we all need to do is to solve for the value of x. So we have 9 plus x equals 24. Doing the necessary grouping of like terms, we have x, that's moving this to this side. We have x equals 24 minus 9. That is moving 9 to this other side. So we have x to be 15. This means that x is not 33. So since x is not 33, meaning the statement is false. Question number 15. Some pages in a book on a bookshelf are missing. Due to this, page 21 is now followed immediately by page 43. How many pages are missing? For this question, I will go ahead and do it the hard way, because I've seen most people making mistake by taking the 43 and subtracting the 21 from it. And when you do that, we are getting an answer of 22. So what I have decided to do is to list out the missing pages. Alright, so the missing pages we have, the question specifically said page 21 is now followed immediately by page 43. So meaning there's page 21 available in the book, and also there's page 43 in the book. What is missing is between 21 and 43.
So we have page 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. These are the missing pages. Now if you count the missing pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So it means the missing pages are 21. So we have 21 pages missing from the book, and the answer is 21 pages. Question number 16. A school hired a bus for an excursion. They were charged 500 cedis deposit plus 4 cedis for every kilometer covered by the bus. If at the end of the excursion they paid a total of 1,260 Ghana cedis for the use of the bus, calculate the total distance covered by the bus. The information related to the bus and everything that is in the question relating to the bus is here. We have total distance covered is what we are looking for. That is what the question is. So question from us. The deposit that is made is 500 cedis. We are aware of that. Each distance that is covered is 4 cedis. We are aware of that. Cost of the total distance covered, we don't know that. But we know that every distance that we have covered is 4 cedis. And we are looking for the total distance covered, which is represented as x. Therefore, the cost of the total distance covered is now going to be 4 times the total distance covered. So that's why we have 4x. The total amount paid is 1,260 Ghana cedis. The equation we can form now is that the total amount covered equals to deposit plus cost of total distance covered. I think we can all agree with this, that the deposit plus the cost of total distance covered is the same as the total amount paid. Now, we don't know the total distance is covered, so it's difficult for us to determine the cost of total distance covered. So that's what we need to solve for. So we have total amount, that's equals deposit plus cost of total distance covered. Now, the total amount is 1,260, that's from the question. And then the deposit, that's 500. And then also the cost of the total distance covered, that is 4 times x, that is 4 cedis per each kilometer covered. And then x representing the total distance covered. So doing the necessary calculation, that's with grouping the like terms, we are able to get x equals 190 kilometers. Therefore, the total distance covered by the bus is 190 kilometers. Question number 17. Consider the figure below. So we have this figure. So you calculate the length of line BC, and then also you find the area of AEB. Then you also look for the perimeter of the rectangle ABCD. To calculate the length of this, first of all, we need to factor out line BC. Where is it located? Line BC is located here. Hence, we are able to take out this side of the shape out. This gives us a right angle triangle. And let's also remember that we are looking for line BC, which is the same as line AD. Hence, the figure for line AD is the same as the figure for line BC. But unfortunately, the figure contains a variable in it. Also, we know that from E to C is the same as D to E. And the whole of this line is 6 centimeters. That's what we have from here. So it therefore means that D to C is 6 centimeters, and half of it is 3 centimeters. That is what we have here. So E to C is 3 centimeters. Now, with all this out of the way, then we can go ahead and now solve for our line BC. Now, this as I said earlier, is a right-angled triangle. To solve for this, we need to use either a Pythagoras theorem or a trigonometric function. As I said earlier, if you are not conversant with trig function or the Pythagoras theorem, there's a link in the description section below where you can take a look at one of our videos where we talk about trig functions and then the Pythagoras theorem. For this question, we have all the sides given to us and we don't have the angle. Therefore, the best and the easiest way to go is to use the Pythagoras theorem. The theorem is that hypotenuse squared is the same as opposite squared plus adjacent squared. The hypotenuse we have in this question is BE. So BE is the hypotenuse. The opposite we have is BC. And then the adjacent we have here is EC. So in essence, the question is asking us to look for the opposite of this particular shape. So therefore, we continue to substitute this into the formula, the Pythagoras formula. So hypotenuse, which is here, which is x minus 1, is going to be substituted here. So that's what we have here. X minus 1 all squared equals to 2x minus 8. That is the opposite, all squared, plus 3 squared. That is the adjacent. Grouping the like terms and doing the necessary calculations, so we have 3x squared minus 30x plus 72 equals 0. And also dividing through by 3 to its simplest form, putting this in its simplest form, we have x squared minus 10x plus 24 equals 0. So when we look for the two values that can be substituted here, we have 4 and 6. That is 4 and 6 will give us 10, and then when they are multiplied, they will give us 24. So that's why we use 4 and 6. So x minus 4 equals 0, and that gives us x equals 4. X minus 6 equals 0, that gives us x equals 6. Now, upon all this calculation, we're still not finished. The question is to find the length of line BC. That is the opposite. So therefore, we need to substitute the figure, this figure here, in here, and for us to get the value of line BC. Hence, if we substitute x equals 4, that is this figure here, x equals 4, then line BC is going to be 2 times 4 minus 8, and that will be 0 centimeters. We go ahead and substitute x equals 6, then that will mean line BC is 2 times 6 minus 8, and that will give us 4 centimeters. Therefore, the answer is 4 centimeters because this is a natural number, not 0 centimeters. Hence, you should use the figure x. If we are to calculate the area of this, we have to use the figure, we have to use the value for x equals 6 to replace each of the values here, each of these variables, not x equals 4. That will give us 0. So therefore, the length of line BC is 4 centimeters. Let's go to the next question. The next question is for us to find the area of figure AEB. Taking the figure AEB out, this is what we have, AEB. Now remember also that this line here is here x minus 1, and this line is 6 centimeters. So this is a triangle, and to find the area of a triangle, we use the formula half of the base times height. Where is the base? The base is the 6 centimeters. So when we flip this correctly, we have the base at 6 centimeters. So half of this base times height, and the height is here. Now remember that the height is 4 centimeters. The height is the same as what we calculated from the previous question, or from the option question E. So that is 4 centimeters. Remember, that is the vertical line, that is the opposite line that we just look for. So that is 4 centimeters. So therefore means that the area is half of 6, that is base, times 4, and the answer is 12 centimeters squared. Let's move to the next question. The next question is, what is the perimeter of the rectangle ABCD? The perimeter of this rectangle is 2 times 6 plus 2 times 4. The number that we have calculated for line AD, that is 4. That is the first working that we did, so that is 4. So therefore we can substitute the numbers in, and then we should be able to get our perimeter. So the perimeter of rectangle ABCD is 20 centimeters.
Thank you for sticking with us all the way to the end of the video. If you like it, please consider subscribing. Share this video with any candidate that is also preparing for the teacher licensure examination. If you like our content, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and leave a comment if you don't understand any of the questions, and we'll keep in touch with you. See you in our next video.